All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Mets Weekly Podcast as we are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X to recap the Mets versus Nationals series, as well as all the latest news and rumors in New York Mets land. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for new episodes of our show that are recorded live after every single series of games during the regular season. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. For those of you in the live chat right now, we love reading your comments, your questions, your concerns, all that great stuff. If you feel like you're being ignored, you're not being ignored. You're just going to be starred throughout the show. We'll try to pull up as many as we can to keep the flow of the conversation going. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok for Frank's instant post-game reactions. There's only 6 left after every single regular season game, which are titled the Mets Frankly Post-Game. And for audio listeners, make sure to follow us on all your favorite listening platforms, not miss the audio version of new episodes that go up at 9 a.m. the following day of recording. Also, make sure to give us a 5-star review. That would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into episode number 171. Frank, I'm not even going to try and pass through it or do anything like dance around the subject. The Mets are in a really bad spot right now with very little time left. That's about it.
I mean, how many episodes have we done alone this year? I mean, we've been warning, we've been afraid, and it's happened. You know, like, it is just like we've tried everything. We've tried every excuse, every reason, every possibility. But I mean, this is the reality of the situation. When you're in the last week and you're still in this predicament, again, with teams behind you that don't really have that great of records, you did this to yourselves. Like you said, the Mets were in a bad spot. They put themselves in this spot, but with the bad performance for how many months now? I mean, we've been talking about the same issues: the offense, the pitching, the managing, the defense, like the base running. I mean, the awareness, the focus. I mean, we've talked about so many separate issues. And when you have those issues, it's going to lead you to being on the outside of the playoffs looking in. And that's where they could find themselves with the way they have played. Chicago's not any fun, as we're going to get into. They were a very good team. They're way ahead of you in the standings. And then Miami, end of the season, I mean, you couldn't draw up to be any more challenging, especially in Miami. So it's not looking good, but I mean, who knows at this point? It's just not looking good.
I mean, we are counting down the hours. We're counting down the games until this season is done. But I think everyone is feeling it. Everyone is feeling that little ghost over the right or left side of their head that is saying 2007. We all feel it. We all feel it right now. And to be honest, I don't really remember it completely because I was so young when it happened. But when you look at how it looked like from the big collapse that it's looking like as of right now, especially with the high expectations that came with it, this is looking bad, and it looks like we are teeing up a really, really bad predicament, which has been flowing for months now, like we have been saying. Now, speaking of, I do want to address the empty box on the screen, because that means today that we are joined by a special guest. Now, if you watched our show before, way back in the beginning, 2021, 2022, you'd remember him being a regular here. So please help us welcome back Mets Weekly alum TonyMetro to join in on the misery that has overtaken us, let's just say, over these past few months with this team just playing like dirt. So welcome back, Tony. I wish this was a lot more.
Dirt is putting it very kind.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sure we've put it even more harsh on here, but welcome back, Tony. I wish this was more of a fun discussion to have, but maybe we get into some tougher discussions at this point as we continue this last week of the season, where we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop at this point. I think that you can agree too.
Yeah, well, to quote the great Joe Bonino of WFAN, you can change the uniforms, you can change the manager, you can change the players. It doesn't matter. The Mets, the Jets, fill in the blank there. They're going to find a way to upset you and completely just fall apart. And we are in the midst of a historic collapse, guys. It is unbelievable and it's awful, but It's something that we're not used to as Mets fans, unfortunately. I think this one's probably, it can't be as bad as 2007 because at least then they didn't have the 16 playoff. We didn't lose the division to the Phillies.
No, this is worse.
You think so? You really think so?
I firmly believe this is worse for a multitude of reasons. Number one, in 2007, the Mets did not have a massive payroll that was supposed to be a significantly upgraded team, adding a generational talent. Those 6 teams did not make any significant upgrades. Number two, you didn't have this format in 06. I mean, like the 07 team easily makes the postseason with these baby standings that they give you now. Everyone gets a participation award. Everyone makes it. 07 makes it easy. There was nothing to worry about. There is no collapse. You're still in. This team, with all of this expanded playoffs, with all this expectations, not significant injuries, you still miss it. How? Like, these teams don't even have great records. It's not like, oh, wow, the National League was stacked that year. Like, there's literally zero excuse for this.
Not a single team with 100 wins this year.
Yeah.
Not a single team.
Like, I mean, come on. This one, to me, would be the worst ever. I think expectations, the playoff formatting, like, I mean, there are better teams than this Mets team who have missed the playoffs. That's kind of like what it comes down to. Like, teams with better records that missed it. This team, like, this is just a joke. It really is.
This team sucks. I'll leave it at that. They're awful. They don't know how to do anything right. When the moment gets big, they shrink. They are awful. It's terrible. And I'm happy to be here with you guys. Nice little reunion. Thank you for having me. And let's commiserate as we typically do.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it so many times on this show for months, since probably game one, first few weeks. Frank, we talked about it. These things were going to catch up to them. It was going to continue to. And I feel like we went to continuing to go through this back and forth, whether it was with fans or the feeling around the fan base where they just, get on these hot stretches and we have people throwing things right back in our face saying, oh, well, you didn't think that this team was so great and you're criticizing them. No, that's the point that I'm making. They're inconsistent. They go on these ridiculous streaks and they have absolutely no substance to them. And they just go right back to sleep. Yeah. It basically just gives you a complete identity of this team. They did it in this series. They scored 12 runs to make up for the awful play on the field for the first 5 innings. And then what did they do for the next 2 games? Disappear. And that's the main reason as to when I see this power offense, this amazing offense that was supposed to be so fantastic, adding Juan Soto to it, every time when I see that and I see a big run total on the board, I don't even blink an eye because they're not going to build on it. And that may seem very, very harsh to believe and maybe very, very harsh to say as a fan, but I've seen this now for, months. They don't build on it. They disappear. The last 2 games they faced, I'm pretty sure, somebody correct me, the last 2 games, the starters on the mound, I'm pretty sure the bottom 2 earned run averages in the league out of any starter.
Jake Irvin kills the Mets every single time he pitches against them. So
they even got to Jake Irving earlier this year, though. Yeah. That's the thing.
No, they did, but for the most part, he is.
But good players make adjustments, so that's one thing, and that's one thing that this team doesn't do.
Yeah, what are those? I haven't seen those. I can't talk about what I haven't seen. Sorry.
No, there's so many things to unpack as to what is so wrong with this team from all aspects. But what it comes down to with me is that I've said this so many times on here. They are incapable, every department, incapable of playing close games. That's all the postseason is. The offense, even though it's not completely related to it, because of course you can have different contexts, but we've seen a decent amount of sample to say so. They're 0-67 when trailing after the 9th inning. And a majority of those ABs in the 9th inning, if you look it up, are our top hitters. What's his Pete Alonso, one of the worst hitters this year in the 9th inning. But we obviously have to dance around that because it's so happy he broke the home run record. And, Pete, we want you to stay. I don't care. And I also think that there is a thought that shows how much the media perceives this team as well as how fans are, taught to believe in this team, but there's no paying attention to what's actually going on in front of you sometimes. And it still was happening yesterday. The media literally asked Pete Alonso, with the team going down the toilet, playing awful, awful baseball. They asked him, did you ever think that maybe this is your last home game? Literally, who fucking cares? Who in their right mind actually
cares? All of
last
year doing that too. I mean, listen, they're just like for any storyline they could grasp onto, because I mean, pretty soon that's all they're gonna have to talk about when the team misses the playoffs. It's gonna be back to that's gonna get Pete, that's gonna get Pete. I mean, we spent all year talking about it. We spent all off season talking about it. They're just going to the next thing. I mean, they're just like, what's the next headline we can get? What's the next click we could get? Because it's not about the team. It's got nothing to do with the team. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, this has been all year. It's all year where when I hear how this is all perceived, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the entirety of the team, which is almost a $400 million payroll. Juan Soto's about to get 40-40. Lindor is I don't care. I don't care. Because when have any of those stats showed up? When it actually has mattered? They haven't. Because like I said, 0-67 when trailing after the 8th inning. The pitching with 2 strikes, terrible. The starting rotation doesn't throw enough strikes at all. They weren't doing it when they were pitching well in the first two months. This is a mess. And then the defense, rearing its ugly head this year. And we'll get into the defense, but this has been going on all year. I mean, Frank, we talk about this team fundamentally. It is not there from all aspects.
I mean, I talk about it nearly almost every night on the post game, where I'm just like, I mean, what is going on here? And it's still, and we'll get to the segment later on, but it's like the routine plays by the veteran guys who should have won Gold Gloves in the past, who, I mean, they make Little League look like fundamentally sound with how bad they are. I mean, throwing the ball around the field, like guys diving for it and falling on their face and the ball's rolling past them. I mean, the left field trying to throw a second base, and ends up over by first base. Like, they're just so all over the place. And again, it's the veteran players, the guys who should not be making these mistakes and should be teaching and setting an example for the younger players. They're the ones that are doing this. I mean, I hope we get into Nimmo later on, because I mean, he's just a rough watch in all aspects of the game. I mean, he's an issue. We'll get to it probably more the offseason, but man, we talk about core and maybe breaking up the core. Boy, I mean, some of these pieces, they are not aging well. And if you think it's an issue this year, it's going to be an even bigger issue next year. So there definitely is a lot of concerning things that you see rearing their ugly head. You definitely see that right now.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, before we get into these 3 games, Tony, if there's anything you want to add to that.
No, I mean, I just want to say, guys, I am fearful every time the camera on SNY pans to the infield. I am fearful every time the ball is put in play against the Mets. And this is not how I felt last year. They were defensively sound. They were fundamentally sound last year. And it has been like a complete flip of the switch, where every single time a ball is put in play against this team, I'm expecting the worst. And that's because they've given me reason to fear the worst. They have thrown the ball all over the field. They have booted it. They have been awful. I mean, obviously the offense has not lived up to its expectations. So you were living on such a thin margin where you need to be perfect out in the field to win games. And more often than not, that's not been the case. And that's why we are where we are.
And I'm going to show you some numbers that's going to make you want to vomit about this defense as well, of how bad this is. Because it's just as bad as you're seeing with your own eyes of how discombobulated it is from either any single position. When you're talking about defense up the middle, the catching position seems to be the only one that can get the job done, which is good. But we also need like the other 8 guys to not have their head up their ass constantly. And that seems to be the deal for throughout 9 innings every single night. Putting together actual 9 innings, like I said, playing close games, incapable of doing it. Incapable of doing it. And then it also doesn't help, which this is a completely other conversation, every single addition in this offseason a disaster.
And
a
deadline.
complete disaster.
And
deadline too. And deadline too. Disaster. And in fact, it seems, and arguably you can say that every single one of these guys, maybe besides Juan Soto, but I don't even know if we want to say Juan Soto because that's just like a different level of things, has made this team worse.
He's the one position player they added, and they are just flat out a worse team. So his numbers are great, but I mean,
I'm
like
sorry,
I said,
but
maybe we get to the
we
ninth
added
inning
Nick
numbers.
Madrigal.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, maybe we get to ninth inning numbers. Maybe that will explain a little more. I know he had a game time hit, but I got to say there's a good amount of guys on this team that have stats, but I feel like when I'm doing the post games on a nightly basis, or you're doing them, I feel like it's very rare that I say that certain guys are like, oh, he had the big hit in this game. Oh, he saved the day late. I feel like I never say that with a lot of these guys. So I mean, I feel
that
like
sounds a lot like 0-67 when behind after after the eighth inning.
For real. I mean, it's like I mean, you get stats, but it's like when the game is on the line late, do you get the hit that wins them the game? Because 0-67, I mean, most of the time you don't, if ever.
Usually not. No.
Yeah, usually not.
You have to blow them out.
If you did, you probably got picked off at first base, or you missed a routine ball that was hit right to you, went under your glove. Like, you find a way to give them back.
They have to score 10 or 12 runs, and they don't do that consistently because this team does not have an efficient approach. Matt's saying, I don't think Clay Holmes is a disaster. I don't think he's a disaster. I think he's just kind of a headache. That's kind of how I see. He's supposed to be a starting pitcher 5, and in this situation with how many inconsistencies there is, he's kind of being treated like a 2 or a 3 right now.
Well, also, he was signed to be a starting pitcher, and by the deadline, I already wanted him in the bullpen, and he is now there because the Mets were too stubborn to admit that they had made a mistake and did it way too late. And now he's in this low combo role with Sean Manaea, another failure. So you had to put 2 failures together in order to create a success on a given day.
I have hope for some areas in this team going forward that it can be better. But there's still things that need to change from the basis of it. And obviously we know that starts with the coaching staff, which we want to see just basically a complete overhaul of. I don't know which parts are going to go or not, but that's more of an off-season topic. We still have games to play, obviously. Let the Mets know that they actually have games left to play, because it seems like they don't really realize what is actually at stake, even though we continue to hear this bullshit over and over again that I have to be better and look at the talent on this team. How many times are you going to sell me on that bill of goods? I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, let's get into what happened in these 3 games, even though I know nobody wants to relive it. We got to do the due diligence here. Running down this 3-game series with the Washington Nationals, we start off with Game 1. Brandon Sproat would make the start and run into some trouble in the 3rd inning. He'd walk 2 batters and commit a throwing error that would allow the first run to come across, and then he'd proceed to surrender 3 extra base hits in a row, headlined by 2 costly defensive miscues by Jose Siri in center field to put up a 4-run inning for Washington. Sproat would end his day with 4 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts on 71 pitches. The Mets would take the early lead in this game after a leadoff single by Francisco Lindor. Pete Alonso would drive him in thanks to a fielding error by right fielder Dylan Cruz. Down 4-1 in the 3rd, the Mets would chip away after a 2-out walk to Francisco Lindor and a single by Juan Soto to make it 1st and 3rd. Pete Alonso would make it a 2-run game with an RBI single. In the 4th, following back-to-back singles by Brandon Nimmo and Starling Marte to start the inning, Francisco Alvarez would tie the game up at 4 with a 2-run double down the left field line. Francisco Lindor would give the Mets the lead with an RBI single, and Juan Soto would launch his career-high 42nd home run of the year to make it a 3-run shot to make it 8-4 New York. Huskar Brazaban would come on for the 5th and struggle, only getting 1 out, but surrendering a 2-run home run to C.J. Abrams to make it a 2-run game. Brooks Raley would come in for Brazaban and finish the inning. He'd come back out for the 6th, get 1 out, sending it to Ryan Stanek, who would finish the inning with a strikeout. Ryan Helsley would pitch the 7th and toss a scoreless inning with a strikeout, and the Mets offense would tack on. following a leadoff pinch hit single by Jeff McNeil and a stolen base from pinch runner Luis Angel Acuna. Starling Marte would bring him in from third on an RBI ground out. Tyler Rogers would pitch the eighth and toss a 1-2-3 inning on 6 pitches, and the Mets would break away on a 2-out double by Francisco Lindor, an intentional walk to Juan Soto, followed by a walk to Pete Alonso to load the bases. Luis Angel Acuna would make it 10-6, drawing the 4th consecutive walk of the inning. Brandon Nimmo would then slash a 2-run single to extend the Mets' lead to 6. With a bigger lead in the 9th, the Mets would sit down Edwin Diaz and go to Chris Stevenski, who would work around back-to-back 1-out hits to finish the game with 2 strikeouts as the Mets take the series opener 12-6. Game 2, Nolan McLean would make the start. Didn't have his best stuff, but he also did not have the best defense around him either. He'd end his day with 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 unearned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts on 92 pitches. Huskar Brazaban would come on for the 6th, toss a scoreless frame. He'd come back out for the 7th and get 2 outs, 1 via strikeout. Richard Lovelady would make his triumphant return to the franchise and finish the inning. Lovelady would go back out for the 8th and work around a 2-out single to toss a scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts. The Mets offense would be shut down by Cade Cavalli and the Nats bullpen throughout the first 7 innings, but they would finally wake up in the 8th after a one out hit by pitch to Pete Alonso, a 2-out double by Starling Marte to make it 2nd and 3rd. Pinch hitter Mark Vientos would get the Mets on the board with a 2-run double down the left field line to make it a 1-run game. Ryan Helsley would get the 9th and toss a scoreless inning, working around a lead-off walk with 2 strikeouts and a caught stealing to end the frame. The Mets would rally in the 9th. Pinch hitter Luis Torrens would lead off with a single. Cedric Mullins would sacrifice him over to 2nd. Francisco Lindor would get hit by the pitch, setting up Juan Soto to tie the game with an RBI bloop single. Pete Alonso would be intentionally walked after a double steal from Lindor and Soto to reload the bases with 1 out, but Brandon Nimmo and Starling Marte would strike out to send this game to extras. Edwin Diaz would get the 10th and retire the side on 7 pitches thanks to a popped-up bunt attempt, a ground out by James Wood, and Diaz would strike out C.J. Abrams to end the frame. However, with Marte at second base to start the inning, Luis Angel Acuna would single on a pop-up bunt that would be misplayed by catcher Riley Adams to make it 1st and 2nd, setting up Francisco Alvarez to ground into a double play and pinch hitter Ronnie Mauricio to fly out to send this one to the 11th. Tyler Rogers would come on and get the runner at second base thanks to some poor base running by C.J. Abrams trying to advance to 3rd on a ground ball to the left side, but that first out did not seem to help as next batter Draylon Lyle would launch a fly ball to center field that would bounce off the wall and quickly roll away from center fielder Cedric Mullins as Lyle would come all the way around to score for a 2-run inside the park home run, giving Washington a 5-3 lead. The Mets would not even move the runner over in the last of the 11th, going down in order to drop a gut-wrenching Game 2 loss in extra innings, 5-3. And in Game 3, Sean Manaea would make the start, and with some brutal defense behind him as well, his biggest blemish would come in the 2nd inning, surrendering a 2-run homer to Nazim Nunez, putting the Mets in a early 3-0 hole. He'd pitch into the 4th, and after a leadoff fielding error by Pete Alonso, Mendoza would bring in Clay Holmes. He'd finish the inning to close the book on Manaea. 3+ innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts on 50 pitches. Down 3-0 in the 3rd, the Mets would get on the board after a leadoff double by Luis Torrens. Cedric Mullins would drive him in on an opposite field fly ball that would be dropped by Nationals left fielder Dalen Lyle. With the play still going and Lyle still injured, Mullins would be given first base after review due to time being called before Mullins would get to second base, leaving everyone very confused. However, Clay Holmes would come back out for the 5th, 6th, and get 2 outs in the 7th. Brooks Raley would come in to get the final out, stranding the inherited base runner and closing the book on Holmes. 3 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts on 57 pitches. In the 6th, Francisco Lindor would get the Mets within 1 with his 28th home run of the year, a solo shot. Gregory Soto would pitch the 8th and toss a scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts, working around a hit and a stolen base. Edwin Diaz would pitch the 9th and toss a 1-2-3 inning, striking out the side. The Mets offense would proceed to get runners on in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, but failing to score every single time with an ejection of Mark Vientos in the 6th after a blown check swing call, some insane defensive plays by the center fielder Jacob Young. The Mets would be given and handed a spoiler by the Nationals in back-to-back games as they drop 2 out of 3 to Washington, 3-2 in the series finale. The Mets are now 80 and 76 on the season, now tied with the Reds, who hold the tiebreaker over them for the final National League wildcard spot. And the Diamondbacks are also just 1 game behind them going into tonight with just 6 games remaining. Whew, that's a lot. A lot of depression, too.
A lot for a 3-game series.
A lot for a 3-game series. Sloppy, disgusting, disgraceful. Tony, I'll go to you first. Wherever you want to go with this, it's all good, because I'm at a loss at this point. I don't even know what I'm watching. I don't think I'm watching a baseball team. I feel like I'm just watching, somebody mentioned it in the chat, it's like a car wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's like a train wreck. You can't take your eyes off it. It's just, pulling you in. Everybody wants to watch the Mets collapse. Dude, the season's over. I'm done. I'm out. I'm going to continue to make my videos, but they're done. The Reds have the tiebreaker. We failed to bury them when we had an opportunity to do it 2 weekends ago in Cincinnati. And honestly, they're a better team. Like, they just are. They put the ball in play. They have better pitching. They have better everything that a playoff team should have. So it sucks, but I really am reserved to the fact that I think that they're a better team. The Mets are going to have this slow, wilting death, and we're here to pick up the pieces as fans. But yeah, I think it's over, man. I think we're done.
I wouldn't blame you for thinking so. I mean, Ricardo agrees with you, saying that this team is cooked, because they've shown us no deal otherwise. I mean, mathematically, they are still in it, but does anybody really see them, even if they win like the series opener against the Cubs, does anybody see them building on that? No, I don't. I don't see it, because they haven't done it for 150 plus games now. They've given us no reason to trust that they can do that. And we're going to be honest with that. It's not the, it's not the fact that, we're trying to just be right about this team, but this is what we're seeing in front of us. Frank, if there's anything, I mean, just a disaster. I don't even know what to say. And I will clue in with the defensive woes, because I think they're numbers that a lot of people do need to see, obviously, but I mean, you can't draw it up any more Metsy than it gets. This is just unreal. Unreal.
I mean, like you said, there's just so many different things going wrong here, whether it's offensively, defensively, base running, coaching. It's just so much. And I just feel like the Cedric Mullins play is the one that really sticks with me. I really ranted about it yesterday, but I'm still just not over it. Yeah. Especially because of who it was. I just feel like if you're a player who's struggling, and I mean, I just think, to me, the overall theme, I just still do not see the sense of urgency. Like, it's the last week of the season. You're supposed to be fighting for your life to hang on to a playoff spot, but I just feel like the way they play, they don't seem like a team that's like, man, we got to make sure that we are totally locked in and doing everything we can to win this game. And I just feel like Mullins standing there staring, just having no idea what's going on, turning around, doesn't realize that the ball is on the ground, the left fielder is down, while the guy at second base, Torrens, is running. Why are you not running too? Like, the fact that it was a single, which instantly turned into a double play because Lindor lines to first, next batter Soto gets a hit. Like, that's the stuff you can't make up, and that's stuff that just cannot happen. And Cedric Mullins, another veteran player. So it's just like, all of the veterans on this team have no clue what is going on. Like I just continue to see things that I've never seen before, and it's just very, very concerning. And nobody holds them accountable. It's like you could make as many mental mistakes as you want. You could get ejected from games. I mean, do whatever you want. There's no repercussions. Nobody cares. If you mess up and you're just totally lost and don't know how to play baseball, doesn't matter. That's all right. We'll just put you back in there tomorrow. Like, it's just, to me, like, I feel like as a fan, it's unacceptable. And I would think, like, as anyone who's ever played baseball, some of the stuff they do is unacceptable. But no one tells them that, because then they continue to do dumb stuff. And, we'll get into the defensive stuff later on, but it really just drives me nuts. Like, if you're going to be bad, at least try, at least be focused. So to be someone who's playing so poorly offensively and defensively, where we brought you in for your defense, to just not be aware of your surroundings and what's going on, to not be hustling at all times, you just can't, it can't happen. But it does happen all the time, but it just really, really should not be happening.
Yeah, I mean, we hear this. Yeah, I mean, we just. Sorry, Tony. I'm just saying. It's like we hear this all the time, that of the effort, and we're working hard. I mean, I start to question: Are you really?
They say a lot of things, but the actions just do not match it at all.
No, they don't. No, Tony.
No, I was just gonna say. First of all, shout out to my guy Ray in the comments here. But number two, God hates the Mets. God hates the Mets. I'm sorry. That guy, what was his name? Jared Young? No, it's
Jacob Young. Jared Young was a New York Met. Jacob Young.
Jay Young. Yeah, no, right.
Yeah.
Just Young is a very consistently terrible thing with the Mets. When you have Anthony Young losing 18 straight games back in the 90s, and then of course Jared Young this year, and that Young for the Nationals doing what he did again. I mean, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. That guy is kicking a ball into his glove, robs a home run from Francisco Alvarez that would have been a potential game-tying homer in the ninth. We are.
Let me add one. Let me add one for you. Josh Bell jumping for that line out double play, obviously in wake of Mullins fucking up on the base pass. But also, I've never seen Josh Bell jump that high before.
Yes.
Anyone ever see that?
No. Josh Young is 250 pounds. Emulates King Kong in the worst possible ways, and somehow leaps up high enough to grab that ball out of the air and double up Lindor and set.
Sounds about right.
I mean, dude, we're
sounds
cursed.
about right.
God hates the Mets, guys. We are just living in a simulation. It's wow.
You can't make it up. You really can't. Obviously, to add on to that Cedric Mullins play, because that can cue us into the defensive woes, because I think we're going to talk about defense probably throughout this entire recap, because that was basically the downfall of this series. It's probably been one of the downfalls of this team. You can't even count as many as there are. But the Cedric Mullins play, obviously in center field, when there was the inside the park home run with Dalen Lyle, or whatever we're calling him, the next superstar against the Mets. He gets the inside the park home run. Obviously, we've seen Mullins not play a great center field, and to be honest, there's been some underlying numbers that kind of shifted me over to running down center field, where it was like, okay, why even trade for this guy? Just hold down McNeil and Taylor, or maybe wait for Siri to come back at center field, because I didn't think that Mullins was that great of a center fielder. I just felt like he was fast and could probably get to a ball a lot better than a 33-year-old Jeff McNeil, which makes sense. But when it came to Cedric Mullins, misplaying that ball in center field, obviously it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best route that he took. It wasn't the easiest catch to make. However, it just goes to show that the errors that this team makes, it doesn't even show the full story. It basically just shows you that you have to watch the film or watch the actual highlight, watch what's going on, and realize how unfundamentally sound this team really is. Because when Cedric Mullins misses that play in center field, that inside the park home run, the ball bounces away from him and back in play. Where's Nimmo? Where's Soto to back him up? Anyone there to back him up? No? Does I mean, does the second baseman have to sprint out there and get the ball? Like seriously, where are they?
But also from a defensive positioning standpoint, if you have the go-ahead run on base, wouldn't you be playing deep so that the ball can't get behind you and he scores to take the lead?
Playing no doubles, that'd be cool.
And you have a obviously very fast player at the plate. Like there are some things you could do better. Even if you take a bad route, there's also some different things positioning wise you could do to help avoid that.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. I feel like any of these guys, they just come to the Mets, can't feel their position whatsoever, or it's just like there's this lack of effort that the message is being sent that it's okay. Jose Siri, you have one job. You have one fucking job. We know you can't hit. We know. That's why you bat ninth. You're not a good hitter. We know you're not. You are here for defense, speed, and he can't even do that right. And listen, he broke his leg. That's a rough injury to come back from. Whether you've had that injury or not in your life, we know it's hard to walk a little bit better with a broken leg. But like, if he's going to play, if he says he's okay to play, that excuse kind of goes out the window. And I understand saying a broken leg doesn't go out the window and playing through it, whatever, that's part of an athlete's career sometimes. They play through injuries. But it's like, what the fuck? What, like, literally, like, what the hell? He literally dropped, I'm not going to say a routine play, but a ball that he should have got to. And then the next one completely just outruns it and it just goes right into the wall. And then you'd think that he would wake up from there. Then he comes up to the plate and gets a fucking pitch clock violation. Like, are you here? Hello? What, Earth to Siri? Hey Siri, where are you? Like, where? What the like, seriously? What exactly is the mindset here? It's like, where are you coming from? It's just the stuff that you see on the field constantly that errors don't show you. They don't show you at all. Or these different miscues or whatever that maybe you'll count against earned runs against these pitchers. I don't even know how those 4 runs against Sproat were 4 earned runs. But we can just look past that at this point. What the hell? You have guys just kicking the ball all over the place. Juan Soto, ball just going right back into the wall, just right back passing them. We've seen Juan Soto have plenty of miscues as well. I mean, we know that Nimmo has not been great in left field this year either. I mean, what exactly is, I don't know, sent to this players? What message is sent to these players that this is okay? And trust me, the Nationals made tons of miscues too. But I expect the Nationals to do that. Because I don't know, they're a last place team and they suck? Because they're not a good team? And now obviously, Jacob Young in center field, one of the best defensive center fielders. So if there was somebody to make that ridiculous juggling play, I'd expect him to do it. But it's like, shouldn't they be better than this team? The redeeming factor shouldn't be, oh, well, the Nats made just as many errors as us. They should, because they suck. They're not a good team. That's why. I don't understand how you go through it day by day. Keep guys in the game. Don't hold them accountable for things. I don't get it. I don't understand this selective choice, because after those 2 plays that Siri had in center field, he should have been benched. He should have been benched. So I'm not going to sit here and say that, well, things like this happen and, you know, everything's like, it's just, what the hell? Like, what is the thought process of a team with actual expectations? What is the message that's being sent? And I feel like every time when we talk about the message being sent, it always goes back to whether it is the coaches or the manager or this or that. I don't know who we do hold responsible as a whole, but someone's going to have to be held responsible because you can't fire this entire team. You can't. There can be changes made, but you can't fire this entire team, especially for what you have locked in right now.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of watching an inefficient baseball team that just half-ass things over and over again and just feels like they're doing things when they feel like it.
To answer your question, Carson, I said on my live stream after Friday's game, despite the Mets winning 12-6, I said, you don't bench Jose Siri because a ball pops out of him. You don't bench Jose Siri because he, didn't take a good route to a ball that ends up going all the way to the alley. I mean, let's be honest, that run was going to score regardless. But then to get the pitch, what do they call it? The
pitch clock violation.
Pitch
clock violation, I guess. Yeah.
To get the pitch clock violation the next inning, fall down the count 0-1 before you even step into the box in a clear bunting situation. And I know the Mets won that game, but that is a lack of discipline. That is a lack of awareness. That is just a guy that doesn't realize where they are right now in the standings. That every pitch, every game, every inning matters. And that is where I would have sat Jose Siri after that.
Ricardo saying Siri was fixing his chain. Guys, forgive him. Yeah. Hey, listen, I all forgiven. It's all forgiven. And that's the thing. It all gets wrapped up with, the Mets scoring more than the other team in that game, that it's like, oh, well, they made up for it. They won the game. Let's move on. We're seeing this every single game.
Right. And then they lose the next two games. They lose Saturday. They can't score in extra innings. They lose Sunday. They have multiple opportunities with runners in scoring. I mean, guys, they're done. They're dead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to bring down, damper the mood, but that's how I feel about this team. I mean, just pathetic. I wanted a sweep. They couldn't even win 2 out of 3 this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They're done. It's over. Yeah.
No, I don't disagree with you at all. Obviously, it's just like the fact of it. How I look at this with this team is, I don't trust them in any way to execute anything properly, obviously. But it's like every single factor that you're seeing from this team, every single weakness you're seeing from this team will cost you even more big time in the postseason. Like I said, this team can't play a close game. It seems like every single win, every single one of these, every single one of these wins, it doesn't seem like they put up quality wins. And we've talked about this before. Quality of wins matters. And yes, maybe the typical baseball fan is going to say, oh, we won. That's great. Move on. We have a great win-loss record. We're fine. And if you think that way, that's fine. But I'm just saying it's like, there was glaring issues from the very beginning, opening day. Remember when Luis Angel Acuna didn't know how to throw a baseball? Or I'm pretty sure Jose Siri even misjudged a fly ball when he was healthy. It's the fact that we see that these miscues all the time. You're walking a tightrope over and over and over again. You were expecting a pitching staff to bail you out. And when you realize, hey, this team isn't built around pitching, they're not going to bail us out every time because, I don't know, the endless base runners they give up, even when they were pitching good and had the top ERA in baseball, like, the signs were there. They made no effort to fix it, no effort to try and make adjustments whatsoever. Actually, you know what? I take that back because it seems like they did have guys in order to do it, but they don't perform. They don't perform whatsoever. And yes, there is a possibility where we're talking about the message that's being sent that these things are okay. But when you have Jose Siri, who last year was one of the best defensive center fielders in all of baseball, and all of a sudden he puts on the Mets uniform and he forgot, oh yeah, well, this is what I'm good at. Just here for the vibes. And we've made jokes about Jose Siri, the aura, the swag. But when it comes down to it, we need him to do his job in order to be winning baseball games. Defense up the middle is very important. And I know everybody rolls their eyes constantly when we talk about, from David Stern saying run prevention is important. Well, how many times has this team given away so many runs and put the starting pitchers or relief pitchers in such awful positions because of this defense not even knowing either fundamentals or not even knowing where to go, where to throw the ball to, or just dropping the ball in general? And I'll show you exactly what I mean this year. And I think we can all agree, don't tell Keith, because this is some bad fundies, all right? Let's talk about how bad this team has been on defense. And all of these different metrics can be very more important.
Carson, I have one Jose Siri theory, just one. I don't even think this will work, but have you noticed that the two teams prior to the Mets were both teams that have domes as stadiums?
I don't know.
Because someone mentioned, because I mean, Game 4 mentioned, doesn't Siri always turn around the wrong way on fly balls? I agree with that. I feel like a guy who's supposed to be a great defensive player, he does turn around the wrong way far too often. He just doesn't even know what's going on. I'm not making an excuse, but I just find that's the only thing I could possibly think of as to why he's just so lost in center field, is that he's used to just being a dome where wind is not a factor and the ball is not turning a bunch of different ways. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I could possibly think of.
I have no idea, and maybe they should have addressed that in before pulling the trigger on the trade. But that was the entire thought, was his range, his arm, all these certain tools that he could help the team with while not really doing much offensively. And for the team, obviously, when you look at these metrics, these are more significant to certain positions. Now, like I said, the catcher position has seemed to have it the best. +9 stolen base runs, above average stolen base runs. It's the run scale. They're first. They're 10th in framing runs as well. Luis Torrens and Francisco Alvarez have done a decent job with that. Defensive plus-minus is just an overall defensive run save metric as well. 21st in that. Double play runs, which is just unfathomable to think about when you're talking about Francisco Lindor being your shortstop. You'd think that double plays would be taken care of, but no. And we've also had plenty of different second basemen this year. We know McNeil has played second base. We know that Acuna has played second base. Brett Beatty has played second base. Plenty of guys have played second base this year. Maybe that has a factor to do with it, but again, does anybody trust this team to turn a double play when they have contact managers on the mound? No. Defensive runs saved, they're +24, but that's 14th. And a lot of that is more fluctuated by Francisco Lindor with defensive run save, and not to mention with defensive run save in the outfield, which is not as that big of a factor, Tyrone Taylor, who is not even healthy as of right now. Fielding run value, which is from Fangraphs, they're 22nd of that. They have a -8, a -2.8 as a team. Defensive run value, 21st in that. They have a -15 outs above average, which is a range deflected metric. They're 22nd, -15, like I said. And then range run value, which is more of just pure StatCast, 22nd. Again, you don't need to look at any metrics to know that this team is so awfully fundamentally sound. And they're possibly the most expensive non-fundamentally sound team to ever exist. But once again, the errors or the numbers don't even show it for this team of how awful of decisions that this team makes and how out of focus they are defensively all year long. I don't know if this team leads the league in unearned runs allowed, because to be honest, I don't think most of these situations are undone by actual errors or fielding errors or throwing errors. It's more of just oh, this guy's got the ball, or the ball's coming at this guy. He has absolutely has no idea what to do. It doesn't even show you. The stat errors doesn't even show you what this team does defensively every night. Tony?
I was going to say, I think we're spoiled by the 2024 Mets that they made plays, the ones that look like they should not be made, easy, the routine. And we thought, oh, that's normal. Like, it's a everyday occurrence. It's an every game occurrence. And here we are now, and they can't even do the routine. So it only exasperates it, makes it look worse that a ground ball to third base, like I said at the beginning of the stream, every time the opposition puts the ball in play, I am worried. Third base, second base, it doesn't matter. Even shortstop with Lindor, ever since June when he broke his toe, I am holding my breath. I mean, they're just not a fundamental team. They are not a fundamental, well-balanced baseball team that makes the routine look routine. And that is why we are here where we are.
Yeah. It's a constant battle of getting those 3 outs or finishing a frame, because the ball's put in play. What's going to happen? Like literally, we have absolutely no idea what is going to happen, because again, we've seen great defensive plays by this team this year. We know that they are probably capable of doing a lot more. But when you were talking about it, from the infield sense, like Tony, I think you mentioned this earlier with the infield, with the ball hit into the infield. Again, is it really impactful, like very, very impactful, that they have Jose Iglesias up the middle with Francisco Lindor? Because if that's the case, if that was what was holding everything together, like I've already said multiple times on here, hinting towards it as we get closer to the end of the season and closer to the off season, if the Mets don't start playing like they, don't have their head up their ass. What does that say about this core? What does that say about the leaders on this team? Are they good enough to help bring this team to a different level, to go deep into the postseason? Because we all know that Francisco Lindor was seen as one of the main catalysts last year, and rightfully so. He was in the MVP race. Mark Vientos, obviously, big breakout for him. JD Martinez, who's not here. Jose Iglesias not here. Like, when you look across that 2024 team with this core of Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo, you want to add McNeil in there, but he's barely been present for 2 of those years because he's had a lot of injuries. But again, those 4 who have been here since the very beginning of this Cohen era. 2021, they were in first place for plenty, but 100 plus days or whatever. Fell out of first place, didn't make the postseason. 2022, I call it a collapse. I know people say that it's not a collapse, but it is a collapse because the entire offense that was so fantastic completely disappeared. 2023, they spent more money into the team, made it older. They were done by June. I call that a collapse too because of how big that payroll was. Then you have 2024, where the collapse was starting in May. You had to bring in a 36-year-old Latin pop singer to fix everything. You needed the magic of Grimace. You needed all of this stuff just to get that final wild card spot, which they fought to game 161 to.
Game 163.
Is it 63?
Basically, they had to play the extra day with the Braves. Remember, they had.
I guess day 163, but like
it was extra day, and everything counted.
Yeah, and they had to fight so much with that. If they needed other veterans to help mold this thing together, what does that say about this core? What does that say about them?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but as time goes on as much as he drives me nuts, Tommy Pham looks correct. The core looks soft because, like you said, I mean, if all of a sudden the veteran leadership really was Iglesias and Martinez, and those guys are gone, and everyone just forgets how to play baseball, you are soft. You are very soft. And the fact that, like we said, no one gets held accountable, no one gets benched, or they get said this is unacceptable. You're soft if you cannot handle criticism and these kind of things happening. And I think for me, you mentioned Lindor as a leader. I want to take it one step further. You talk about the defense. How about the base running mistakes? Because, you could show me OAA and DRS, like, range, this, that, the other metrics.
Too.
But it's like, how many of the errors are a routine play hits you that you are just not focused and you drop it, or that you just completely throw it off base? Like, these are plays that you should be making, especially for the caliber player you are, and you don't. And it's, no big deal. But then the same thing happens on the base paths, where I remember it was early in the season in Washington where Lindor was not sliding to second base. And it was driving me nuts. I'm like, why are you not sliding? You're causing your team outs. You're causing them double plays. Like, you got to slide. And he wasn't. And what has happened? You see other young players like Brett Beatty who don't slide, and then they get picked off. So it's like, if my leader, my guy who's supposed to be a captain, is not sliding and no repercussion, no nothing, no conversation, why do I have to slide? I mean, that's the principle that we've set here. No sliding. We don't need to actually try and do the right things when we're playing baseball. That's the example that's being set out there. We make an error. We drop it. We don't hustle. Like, I'm just saying, that's what they're watching. It's like, so is the highest paid guy. He never hustles. Why should I hustle? But again, I know it's a Latin pop singer, but no matter what, no matter how weak the ball was hit, how hard the ball was hit, Iglesias also 1,000% running down the line every single time. A lot of times he got surprise hits out of it, but I just feel like not seeing that on the field anymore, it has to have an impact. Like, you have to kind of mock the behaviors that is around you if you are these other players.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by that. That's what I mean by that. It's like, if that was the big game changer, you're in some real shit. Real shit. Because if you need Jose Iglesias there to show you proper baseball as professionals, you're in deep shit, especially when you add on the detail of how much money has gone into this team. That's bad. That's really, really bad. Jose Iglesias is not going to be playing forever. So if you want to bring him back next year because everyone's so fearful of that, go ahead and do it, but he's not going to be playing forever. That's the thing. And there's also other factors in with this. Game for War saying it's not the core, it's toxic administration. Different administrations have different loser, moron coaches and managers. We need winners who know how to win. Obviously, there's plenty of stuff we'll talk about the coaches as well. The coaches completely. I've been on
he's
Eric
not
Chavez's
wrong.
head forever.
Yeah, he's not wrong, because there's 0 rings in the leadership. The general manager's never won a World Series. The manager obviously never won a World Series. The assistant pitching coaches, they don't have no rings. So, I mean, he kind of has a point in a certain sense.
Yeah, and then they took that pursuit with Buck Showalter, who also doesn't have one as well. And they completely
when are you going to hire a champion who knows what a champion is supposed to do?
If you want to bring in a winner, bring in a winner. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But it's where does that add? Where does that add in? It's yes, there are guys who probably aren't the best players or whatever, but if they have experience winning as well, guys like JD Martinez, Jose Iglesias was on those good Tigers teams as well. They never won, but they went deep into the postseason a lot. You have those guys with that experience. I don't know. It's about the message that's being sent, like I'm saying, and that's the main reason as to why it makes me question, can this core actually win? Because I'm not seeing it. And it's not just this year, 2023, 2022, 2021. So many collapses at the hands of this core that they're relying on.
So let me say this. A lot of people want to blame Carlos Mendoza, which is fair. He has not been perfect by any means. No. But also, did Carlos Mendoza drop a ball that was in the middle of his mitt aka Jose Siri, did he the very next play let a ball get past him and go to the wall, even though that run would have scored regardless? Did he play a ball off of the fence that became an inside the park home run on Saturday, Cedric Mullins? So I'm sorry, but there's a certain point where there needs to be some player responsibility where the Mets players have just not gotten the job done. And Carson, I go back to what you're saying right here, which is since 2022, let's call it like, I don't know, late July, August of when they collapsed in 22. 23 was terrible.
But we won 101 games, so that's fine. That's the ego boost for everyone.
Yeah. Look at the win-loss record. Don't acknowledge that they were not, it was a paper tiger, right? Yeah. 23 was terrible, and then 24 for the first 3 months or so was awful until they had players meeting, turned it around, and then played very well for these first 2 months. My whole point is we have believed in this team for a 1 year, an annual 12-month period, instead of actually looking at the longevity of this core, like you just were talking about, which is not very good. They have not gotten the job done. More often than not, they have failed. So, like, we can pretend like, everything's hunky-dory and good, based on June of 24 through last, the playoffs and then the first 2 months of this year. But the majority of the last 2 years has been bad. It's been really bad. And part of that falls on the GM, part of that falls on the manager. And here we are left to pick up the pieces. So I'm dead inside, guys. I said it to you. This is as bad as it gets, man. This is as terrible as it has ever been.
I just think that for me, this team did not make this as many mental mistakes, and just like not just mental mistakes, but like totally way off of Major League Baseball mistakes this year than they did last year. And the only different factor is there's no veteran leadership this year. That is the only difference, because it's the same manager. So like if Mendoza was here last year, they weren't making these mistakes. These veterans leave, and all of a sudden this team is just like out of control. It has to go on the manager, because then who is leading them? If you have no veteran leadership, the manager should be leading them regardless. But if you don't have your veteran leaders to help you out, it is up to you to do it. And I just feel like it's not happening, because these unacceptable things, it feels like they're kind of getting worse in a certain sense. Like I said, you would think last week of season you're ever going to be locked in. Now would be the time, and they still aren't. So, I mean, who else can I blame? I mean, it's just like, who else is going to hold these guys accountable? Because it's like veteran players that we haven't seen him do this before. Lindor been here how many years now? We never seen him play like this, where it's just been an absolute disaster far too often. The same thing goes with Nimmo. I mean, about for how long when Nimmo was like throwing to second base when there was a guy going home or something. Like, we've just seen these super weird plays that it's like, are you even paying attention to what's going on? Because it just feels like they're not far too often.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those veterans can help guys, are supposed to help guys be better. And to be honest, young pieces like Mark Vientos, who's not sure-handed at third base, it's only going to get worse. Like, it's only going to get worse if you have that message being sent. I think with guys like, Alvarez behind the plate, there's been plenty of situations with him of throwing decisions and screw-ups and things like that. I just feel like when it comes all together, the entirety, like, who do you place the blame on? I understand if you want to say it's Mendoza. I understand if you want that to happen, because, again, it's obviously the message that's being sent that things are okay. Because, again, he should have benched Siri after those two screw-ups in center field. He didn't end up doing that. I've got an entire rant that I would completely spew out right now about the usage of Edwin Diaz this year. That's another thing. But again, when it comes to the manager and this situation, when you have an entire team that can't do the simplest of things right, whether it's become the pitching not performing, not doing the bare minimum, not being able to do the bare minimum, and if you want to add that on to Carlos Mendoza, go ahead. And if the Mets do end up collapsing completely and miss the playoffs. Mendoza's job, I understand if you want to put it into question. Absolutely. But here's my question. Even if that is the problem, how are you going to fix it? How's that going to be fixed? How do you fix that? You going to bring in Tony La Russa? You going to bring in some other World Series winner that we want? Like, what is going to be the plan there? I don't understand. Like, what can they do exactly? Like, what exactly could be that pivot from Carlos Mendoza? And obviously, that's more of an off-season topic. But it's like, you know, a proven champion who's done well in the minor in the modern day. It's like the perfect setup. Like Bruce Bochy, he's not available. Like, where exactly are you going to find that solution? Because I know damn well that the people that want Carlos Mendoza fired outright, you're going to be asking for the next guy's head in 2 years. This has basically been the pattern with the Mets. Like, that's basically been the pattern. And then we'll always get that repeated over and over and over again of, I wish there was a mentality like Terry Collins and this where he was screaming at. Yeah. That's also misconstrued too. Does anybody remember how things went on with Terry Collins and his bullpen management? Like, I feel like we get like this misconstrued, we forget what things have gone on.
If he didn't have the hot mic with Noah, people would not love him as much as they do.
No, exactly. And that has nothing to do with Terry Collins as a person or his legacy as a Mets manager, because they had some success under him. But it's not like he's like this major savior that we took for granted, or like
they were terrible for a long time under him.
They were,
like, they were
terrible when he left.
Yeah,
too.
But they also were not very good in the World Series year. I mean, a lot of people forget, but they were like hovering around 500 going to the All-Star break. But like, is this team any good? And then all of a sudden they took off. Cespedes saved the day. Young starting pitcher came in, was amazing. Like, that was another year. It's kind of similar to last year where so many things broke right for them that they ended up getting that far and then couldn't finish the deal. But the managing definitely did not do him any favors. I mean, we have to say it, but Matt Harvey, obviously, not him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was not perfect either.
Yeah. I think, again, you can go back into Mets history of things that have gone wrong and things that have ended badly. We've seen it happen. Things end badly, so bad for so many different managers that have been very successful here. Davey Johnson, rest in peace, who passed away recently. Willie Randolph, the way that they treated him on his way out, a disgrace. But again, that's basically just how it is with New York. And I feel like that's the main reason as to why nothing's going to get solved if you're just going to be like, okay, toss the manager, get a new one here, and we're going to hate his guts in 2 years.
But what I will say is that even if you go all the way back to Willie Randolph, how many of these managers that the Mets fire, and Terry Collins' age was involved, but how many of these guys actually get rehired to become managers again in the major leagues? Mickey Callaway, I know he was a creep. He never got another job as a manager. Luis Rojas still hasn't got a job as a manager. No one's calling Buck Schultz to say, hey, please come back to Major League Baseball. No one wants them. So, like,
the only guy that wants Luis Rojas as a manager is Andy Martino.
And we talked about it even with Chili Davis. We're like, well, who's hiring Chili Davis to be a hitting coach? Other than Kevin Long, no one's ever gotten one of these Mets coaches to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's been a coach for a bunch of years now as a successful coach. Like, they haven't necessarily been like, oh, we should never got rid of that guy because look, he went to another organization. They have great success now. That hasn't been the case. And with Mendoza, managers, do we see that happening? Do we see him going to another team and all of a sudden they become a World Series winner?
I mean, again, it's like it's managing. Managing is again, it's so different now. You have a lot more being controlled by the analytics department. You have a lot more by the front office. But again, when it comes to the managing, it's like, what exactly is that going to change if you were to fire Carlos Mendoza after this season? I'm not saying that Carlos Mendoza has done a great job this year. I think that there's been plenty of situations come to think of it, in this series, like I said, taking Edwin Diaz out after 7 pitches are thrown, saying that he got hot yesterday and got warmed up, dry humped, as Mickey Callaway would say. Then he pitched the day before. That's not the mentality that I want to hear. Like, literally, this is your $102 million reliever. Fucking use him. And I'm so glad that they saved him for yesterday where he struck out the side.
And you might only have a few days left with him on your team.
Yeah, you could.
Burn him out.
Yeah. Again, we could be asking the question just like they asked with Pete Alonso. Could that be the last time we hear the trumpets at Citi Field?
But also because of how bad this team has been, we've gone like weeks without seeing Diaz at certain points of the season. Like, I'm sure he's plenty of rest. Like you said, 7 pitches.
And he's been vocal. Again, he's so different from so many different closers. He's been vocal about wanting to pitch a lot. He's not like guys like Josh Hader have been vocal. He's like, I need to come in the ninth.
First pitch is going at someone's foot or to the backstop because he just doesn't have his rhythm down.
Edwin Diaz, as faulty as he can be, and we know he's got his faults. We know there's weaknesses. We've seen the very worst of Edwin Diaz. But there is nothing that he loves to do more than pitch. He will go out there no matter the circumstance. We saw him do that in Atlanta. When he went out there, blew the game, went back out there, said, I fucking got this. I'm finishing this off. Threw 40 pitches. He doesn't care. That's a rubber arm right there. Let's not forget when we're trying to limit him and limit his type of usage. The injury he had in 2023 wasn't an arm. It wasn't an arm injury. It was a freak injury. That arm is always ready to go, no matter if you're talking about the usage. And there's a main reason as to why. He was given $102 million because of the availability that he always is willing to express. But for some reason, Huskar Brazaban's pitching more innings. Reed Garrett's pitching
Tyler
more
Rogers,
innings.
3 days in a row.
Tyler Rogers, I think they're running Tyler Rogers into the ground.
You know what? This is what is so alarming about the Mets is that, guys, like, Reed Garrett, obviously now has to get Tommy John, and you had
wonder why.
Because we had to use him every day in May and in March, April, June. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. They kept it a 3-2 game after Lindor's homer yesterday. They tied the game on Saturday to make it 3-3, and the Mets still found a way to blow it. The bats. I mean, that is what is most alarming to me about this team is that it is always a new culprit. It is always something different. The bats don't come through. You have a close game.
You know what that sounds a lot like, Tony? You know what that sounds a lot like? That 2017 team. Remember that? Where every single day there was something wrong. I deleted
that from my memory.
Every single day there was something else different wrong. And that's basically how you point out a bad team.
This is a bad team. This is not a good team. They are not defensively sound. They don't have the bullpen. They brought in guys at the deadline that have not panned out. The lineup doesn't score enough. The pitching doesn't, hold up their end of the bargain, or vice versa, or the rotation only goes 3 innings with 5 runs.
But they'll score 11 runs tomorrow, and it'll all be magical. We're back. Everything's back. Because it's not about consistency. It's about showing up for the highlight reel, showing up for the media to get some kind of story to show that everything is okay when it is not. No, and like we have been saying for those first 2 months, how they have been playing was not efficient baseball. We were saying that with 21 games over 500?
We're in first place.
Quality of wins matters. Quality of wins matters. Inefficient baseball will show. We've said it so many times. You play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes. And look where you are right now.
You mentioned earlier about their pitching approach with 2 strikes and how they don't throw strikes.
Yeah, sure.
The hitting is the opposite. They have a 2-strike count and they don't swing at strikes. So it's like, how could you be a team that has a bad pitching 2-strike approach and a bad hitting 2-strike approach? Because, that's nothing we talked about. Remember, another thing Mendoza was, us and the hitting coach staff, we're relaying the message, but for whatever reason, it's not getting through. Really? I mean, so like I said, remember, what are your options then? Either number one, you're lying. Number two, the players are just not listening to you and don't respect you. Or number three, they're just dumb. Like that's the only options based on what you're saying. So it's just like a lot of the stuff has just been a joke because, like Tony mentioned with the hitting, Saturday, what was it 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position, left 15 on base? I mean, come on now. That's been happening all season long. All year long. They may have like a week, a few days where, wow, good risk. Then they go right back to stuff like that. Crazy. And again, not against great competition.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, okay, Edwin Diaz, if you are in a one-run game, the top of the order is up for the 7th inning, bring him in. Bring him in. Like, play the matchups here, please. But they're so keen on, the lefty against Gregory Soto, which he hasn't been able to get out whatsoever. Relievers are finicky. We know they are. But, this is your $102 million arm. Stop babying him. Stop. And I say this as one of the biggest Diaz supporters to ever exist. Stop babying him. You should be trusting him in these situations. No, nobody has been in Diaz's corner bigger than me. But, again, use him. Use him. I know David Stearns or Mendoza weren't here when he got that contract. I get it.
I mean,
use
especially when, like you said, Stearns has no affiliation to him. He's a free agent after this year. He's got a 1.9
if he opts out. Yeah,
he is 100% going to exercise his player option.
Yeah,
run him into the ground. Not that I don't want the best thing for Edwin Diaz.
Balls to the wall. Yeah.
I mean, get the most out of him that you possibly can. Who cares? Yeah. I'm sorry. I know you're thinking hopefully he'll be available, for the playoffs. We don't want to hurt him right now, but there may not be a tomorrow. There may not be playoffs. Yeah. And as we sit here today, there are no playoffs. We are out. We're done.
Yeah, exactly. And they probably could have been in a position to win that game, even though the offense was being horrendous, like they usually are for 4 out of 6 days. But again, in that situation,
even if you go Diaz another thing, are they going to score? I mean, I feel like
true, which is another factor. Which is another factor as to why I'm saying okay, well, Mendoza did the best that he could in that situation, but again, taking out Edwin Diaz after 7 pitches, balls to the wall here, right? You have a off day 2 days later. What is the alternative, though? Tell me what the alternative is. You go to Tyler Rogers, a contact managing pitcher with a runner at second base with nobody out.
The ball's going to be put in play, so.
And then you can tell me that, well, he got the lead runner. They got the first out with the lead runner. Didn't seem to matter, right? Didn't really seem to matter. Not to mention, when the ball is put in play, do you trust this team to make the right play? I don't. I 100% do not. So wouldn't you want to go with, I don't know, your strikeout pitcher, your top reliever in a top situation? Stop thinking about tomorrow, where you already fucked up saying that Sean Manaea was going to start the game as well, when you should have just kept Clay Holmes because, interrupting a first-time starter in that routine makes absolutely no sense, and Manaea's season is the one that's lost. That's another factor, too. But, again, there's plenty of things that we can pull out of an envelope that are so wrong with this team. Because, again, even if Edwin Diaz pitched another inning, even if he went back out there, were they going to score in the 11th? Probably not. Probably not. Because I don't know why, because they have an inefficient approach. Let's pull out another envelope. Eric Chavez. Again, either way you want to call it, a trickle-down effect, chain reaction to this or that, it all adds up. And it all is just completely wrong. And again, people can talk about the coaches all they want. I want every coach on this team gone. I want the janitor gone, to be honest.
Even the first base coach?
Oh, man. I feel he's going to probably get poached by someone. probably might get poached.
Yeah, they want to get all those stolen bases too. I could see that.
Anton Richardson, he can stay. He can stay. That's fine. Everyone else, fuck off. Get out of here. Literally, all of you, gone. But would that even be enough? I don't know if it will be. I don't know. I really don't know if that is enough. Maybe it is just the players that are inherited by David Stearns that are not fundamentally sound. We've never seen a fundamentally sound team.
But like we said, he brought in a bunch of disasters, though, so he's not.
He brought in some really bad ones too. So maybe they're just going into the glob, which we've seen many, many times before, of new players coming here and underperforming. That's happened all the time. We saw it with Juan Soto for a few months. But again, when you look across, I don't know, to near the Midwest, to Milwaukee, how sound they are, a finished product of David Stearns, it's like, is it David Stearns? Is it Mendoza? Is it this personnel that just can't win and has choked so much? There's plenty of things you got to hold accountable, and I am all for change at any single one of these aspects. But it's like, if you're going to give these guys a new coach, new coaches, new this, new staff, new this, and that doesn't end up working out, then what questions do we have to answer? And I feel like as of right now, you also have to ask some questions here. And you're running out of plenty of questions to ask because Lindor's locked down, Soto's locked down, Nimmo's locked down. And I'm going to put this out here without even getting into a big conversation because this is an off-season discussion. We got to move on. But what does that leave? Everyone's beloved homegrown guys. Pete Alonso is not locked down. Jeff McNeil's not locked down. So what are we going to do? We going to run this back again with new coaches? Are they going to make tougher decisions? I don't know.
Yeah. One of them has to change, whether it's the players or the coaches or maybe both. Like one of the two or maybe both need to be changed.
And I'm not going to sit here and say we can't get rid of this. This Pete Alonso franchise home run record. Because Pete Alonso has all of these great seasons and he had all of these great moments. The team doesn't win. They don't win. They haven't won since 1986. We don't have hardware. We don't have any. We haven't had it for 40 years now. 40 years? 38 years? 39? What is it? I can't even do math at this point.
39 about to be 40.
39 about to be 40.
Yeah.
And we're going to sit here and say, yeah, be 40 next year.
I'll just say this. There are going to be very difficult decisions where you look at the Brewers where they trade Corbin Burns away. And that's almost the equivalent of trading Jacob deGrom away. I mean, a guy that is homegrown, that is a Cy Young winner, we're going to have to do that. And that is what we signed up for as Mets fans. We all said, we want to win. We don't want any more of this Will Pontian kind of, we're not going to spend on guys. But also, we really want David Stearns to be the general manager, to be the commander of this team.
Yeah.
And you have to take the pain that comes with it. And that means sometimes knowing when to sell on a guy after his peak. So we're in a really weird space. I don't know where
we could have traded DeGrom, but let him go to free agency instead and got nothing for him.
Yeah.
They did that too.
With Jacob deGrom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
with the uncertainty of his health too. And there was uncertainty of health with Corbin Burns, if I do say as well, of the conditioning of his arm. They traded him, got assets back for him, and then Arizona signs him, gets Tommy John surgery. So it's like
that's my whole point. How many of us as Mets fans?
No asset is untouchable. Like that's the thing. It's the thought of putting emotions and the business that has been failing Like it's the thought of that. And again, this is more off-season talk, and it's more, a different discussion to be had. But it's like, if they were to move on from pieces that have been core members of this team for years, I'm not going to sit here and show remorse. I'm not. As great as they are individually, has it gelled together as a team? Let me just ask it from one aspect. Has it gelled together as a team?
Let me ask you this. Carson, what is the Mets record since Jeff McNeil came back from his oblique injury or whatever it was?
Oh, they're below 500.
Yeah.
He's the problem. I'm telling you. He is the
underneath
the sheets problem.
Year. He's the cancer. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It's the attitude. It's how it's presented, the message that's being sent that these things are okay. Because on paper, Lindor's having a good season, Soto's having a good season, Pete Alonso's having a good season. Like, on paper, and their individual accomplishments, great. That's not the mindset right now. We can talk about the individual accomplishment when the team had nothing. R.A. Dickey's Cy Young Award and Gold Gloves to Juan Lagares. This is different now. This is a lot different. So when people tell me, oh, Soto's in the MVP race, how could you hold him accountable? Because I don't care what he does individually. I want the team to actually win. And if Soto does things individually, that obviously helps the team win. But we're missing the point here. Pete Alonso breaking the franchise home run record, I don't fucking care. I don't. No one cares. Literally no one cares. Or at least someone who wants to win. If people actually do want to win. Because again, yes, Pete Alonso has been a great Met, but it's like, what is the message that's being sent here? And the message that's being sent here is collapse every single time at the end of the season. We'll be back next year. Because I know for a fact that there's going to be an opt-out of the contract with Pete Alonso, and there's going to be a huge push. Fans are probably going to bully Steve Cohen once again to bring back Pete Alonso. And it's not like I'm sitting here and, filling in a fantasy team and saying, well, I need a first baseman. Yes, he does help this team. But when you keep losing like this, how many times can you keep running this back? How many times?
No,
I mean,
it's over.
They've shed off pieces before. They've shed off pieces.
Like
Conforto, gone.
That worked well. That was a massive success. So they made
even
the right
though
choice
that
there.
was basically the end of the franchise, to be honest. But
but I think also you have to ask yourself, based on how Nimmo is going and McNeil is going, do you want to keep giving 6-year deals to guys who are already over 30? Like, is that really the best business practice? I know Pete is probably age better than these guys, but still, it's like, do we really have to do that? And I feel like people saying the first base stuff, there's been no improvement in his throwing. That's never going to improve. Like, you have to know that if you are giving a ton of money to Pete Alonso with how the team's constructed, he has to play first base. And if he does, you are signing to have that very arm, which to me is still the worst first base arm I've ever seen, and I've been around a long time. You need that? I don't know, man. I just think also the power has not been that amazing for Pete Alonso this year.
I wonder why.
I just think overall it's like, I don't know. I feel like, there's a lot of very good hitting first basemen in baseball. It's a power position. What are you really paying for if the guy's already over 30? I feel like you really, and like Ricardo makes a good point, Clifford era is almost here. Not saying you automatically plug in prospects, but I don't think it's a no-brainer, no doubter.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I don't like sitting here banking on the prospects here, but it's like, if something's not working, it's not working. With you at the head of it, you're going to have to break this apart, whether they're good or not. Because there's no doubt that Pete Alonso is a good player. There's no doubt that he's been one of the greatest Mets of all time. But, like, does that really factor into the conversation of this team winning going forward? I don't know. And that's another thing. Like, this is another asking about Chili Davis. Like, when we're talking about, firing coaches or things like that, how are these players going to take it? And I already talked about this on here. I was saying, how are they even going to respond when Marte leaves? Because they already had 1 year of Jose Iglesias. It seemed like that's broken them. It just shows you, it's just the message that's being sent. It has nothing to do with these guys as people. It has nothing to do with if we hate these guys and we think they're bad players. It's the fact that the message and the attitude and the mentality of these players, it hasn't gotten across for years. 21, 22, 23, now to 25. And then the message being sent in 2024, it's not here, but that's not a good thing. I don't know. It's whatever. There's plenty of things that we can get into, but, we got to move on eventually, obviously. But again, let's get into, wrapping up this series, as nightmarish as it was, with the oh-so-famous segment known as Studs and Duds.
No, they're all duds. There's no point. There's no point. No one.
I don't know. I think we had some good performances.
No, there were no good performances. Everyone's a dud.
So, Studs and Duds, one player that was good in this series, you're going to have to scrape deep.
Yeah.
One player that wasn't. Frank, I'll go to you. A stud in this series.
I don't got much for you, but I gotta be honest, man. This was brutal. This was really bad. I mean, I'll just go to reliable. Can I just say Nolan McLean? Like, I just feel like
sure. Why not?
He pitched solid. Defense sucked. Offense sucked, but he continues to be really good. And still, it's like, once again, because you're bad defense, you run up the pitch count, the unearned runs. Like, you just totally ruined their starts. Like, it's just kind of crazy to me. And even with Sproat, same thing has been happening to him. Bad defense, bad hitting. Like, it's just not the way to develop players with just this garbage that's around them, in my opinion, at least. So, I mean, Nolan, he continues to get the job done. He's been like the lone bright spot. We talk about like untouchables. He's an untouchable. Everyone else, we certainly could have a conversation about, but that's just me.
Yeah. Obviously, all those years of control too, But those are the guys that I don't even have in that conversation. Tony, is there anybody you want to put in the stat category? Even though I know that you are kind of defeated. Like, I can feel it. We can all feel it. Like, we're all defeated, to be honest, of what we're seeing, and we're just waiting for this shoe to finally drop.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to a guy that definitely has never gotten the player of the series before, and that's Ryan Helsley. Because let's be honest,
Richard Lovelady.
Yeah, Dickie Lovelady, right? But had the Mets done their job in the other aspects where the offense came through in the 9th, 10th, or even the 11th, where they showed a little bit of life after falling behind 5-3 on Saturday, or 1 on Sunday, then we'd all be talking about, hey, is Ryan Helsley kind of inching his way back in toward the circle of trust? But unfortunately, none of that matters because they suck and they keep losing. But Helsley's been good, and I'll give it to him. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks a lot sharper. He does. Not as like the big dominant arm that was in St. Louis at the top of his game, but I'm starting to see a little bit more sharper of a fastball, less fastball usage as well, which is what he was doing in St. Louis. I don't know why we flipped that around, but hey, never question the great Jesus known as Jeremy Hefner. So, when it comes to a stud for this, I had Helsley on here. I don't know where to really go in this direction. I guess I can give Diaz it. Just all reliable, my number one guy there, and I feel like he probably should have got a second inning in that second game. Like I said, already ranted about it. These could be the final 6 games that he plays as a Met. And, I'm a big Diaz fan, but, change happens because emotion doesn't come with it just because, if the team's not winning. I'm not saying it's his fault, but I'm just saying it's the fact that, guys leaving free agency. It happens. This is the business part of baseball.
And you also can't get saves when there's no lead to protect.
No, absolutely not.
Like a closer should be one of the last things you get because you have to get it to that point first.
Yeah.
And like we say,
Sure.
if the pitching held up, if the hitters held up, if the defense held up, the base running decisions, like then sure,
If
you
team,
have more leads. Yeah.
da, da,
But it's
da,
like there's so
da.
many other things that have to be fixed. How could you invest another $100 million into a closer?
All right. So I don't even think we can. We don't even need to go around the table. We can really just throw shots at a dartboard for the dud category.
Just name anyone.
Let me pull a few out. Okay. Cedric Mullins sucks. Jose Siri sucked. Let's see. Even Pete Alonso, some really miscues defensively because defense seems to be the theme here. Let's see. I don't even know with individual performance here. Nimmo, sure. If you want to put Nimmo there.
Beatty.
Beatty.
Everyone.
Sure.
There's a lot.
One stud. I mean, actually, to be honest, Francisco Alvarez had a decent series. If you want to put him in the stud category. Frank, if you want to uplift him. But I think the energy just been
Jacob
killed.
Young exists, so.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. You can just basically list pretty much anybody at this point.
Another thing that annoyed me too is that like Jacob Young was out here making all these amazing catches in center field. Meanwhile, we have all these defensive first center fielders that none of these guys can make any of these plays. You know, it's just like that was another thing that was just really like just to really add insult to injury there. Like
I never really considered. That's the main reason as to why I was so flaky on Cedric Mullins.
Holmes is a good one.
Yeah, Holmes did well as well.
Minaya not so much.
Minaya not the best because it's a lost season for him. That's basically it, and I just don't see anything getting better until he gets that loose body surgery.
Gave up a home run to an 195 hitter. I mean,
that was his first right-handed home run of the year. I'm pretty sure from the right side as well. You can't make it up. You really can't. You just can't make it up. Speaking of you can't make it up, there is one more topic I want to get into, unfortunately, and that being even more depressing because it basically just fell down a freaking well. Kodai Senga, it looks like we have a situation where maybe he's not on the postseason roster, even if they fucking make it. Who knows if they do? Yeah, I'm getting hot right now. But also the fact that we also have 2 years already still locked down to this pitcher as well, and we are going to get into some rough conversations as well about Kodai Senga when it comes off season time. But he had his second start in AAA. It did not go well. It seems like his secondary pitches were all out of whack. Basically what we were seeing at the major league level for a decent amount since he came off the injured list. It seems like Senga at this point, and Frank, I don't know if this is how you feel about it, but I feel like Senga has become an afterthought at this point. I don't even think he's in the plans for the rest of the year at this point. And I wouldn't, again, he's not dependable. You can't depend on him at all. Like I can't depend on him. Maybe we thought he could have been maybe 2 years ago, but it is just completely reversed, changed. His rookie season as a 30-year-old. But again, it's the fact of there's always something that's derailing this. There's always something in his way. Again, I don't want to sit here and slander guys for character or anything, but it just goes on with the rest of this team. Senga's soft.
I don't know.
Senga's soft.
It's just like you said. It's kind of been something every year almost at this point, especially lately. Like you feel like you would want. I think if the Mets wanted him to pitch, he could. You know what I mean? Like he's chilling in the minor leagues, and even they don't really want him to. So I feel like that tells us all we need to know. Like the Mets are basically telling us that he is an afterthought because they have an opportunity to. He's healthy, technically, all things considered, to pitch, but they choose not to pitch him. So he's just not very good. And it just feels like you could add him to the list of starting pitchers not getting the job done. Frankie Montas, hurt, came back, was so bad, had to move to the bullpen, got hurt again. Sean Manaea, not good, had to be moved to the bullpen. Clay Holmes, not good enough, had to be moved to the bullpen. Senga, there's just no room left in the bullpen. So they just sent him down in the minor leagues. It just feels like David Peterson, who has not been that great in the second half, is the only guy who made it through the entire season in the rotation. Everyone else, they couldn't get the job done. They couldn't stick around. And these rookies have outperformed all of these starting pitchers, making way more money than they have. So it's just, he's just like, add him to the list. Like, just add it to the starting rotation of guys who did not get the job done this season. And he had his own injuries, some of it his teammates, some of it his own doing, but just overall, not good enough. Just really not what you want to see.
No. Yeah, and obviously he's on a said bargain deal, I'd say, for a starting pitcher. It's a movable contract if you were to talk about moving him in the offseason. And I know everybody, they'll jump down our throats for it. But again, with this certain situation, it's a headache. It's a headache. I've been patient with Kodai Senga. I've been willing to see if he, gets healthy. But it's like, how many times can you get bit by this? How many times can this happen when we can just say, okay, this guy is not dependable, and it's not even worth having him here in the rotation. And they started to realize it. They said it's not worth it having him come out here every 5 or 6 days because he needs an extra day of rest. Like, this is a different situation than even if we're talking about Clay Holmes, who has seemed to look like a first-time starter, or Frankie Montas, who just sucks, or Manaea, who's had a lost season. Senga's a whole different ballgame. This is a whole completely different ballgame with this guy.
Especially because
so many things have to go right.
Where, like, even though he was kind of healthy, wasn't really able to pitch in the playoffs, wasn't very effective in the postseason. Like, it's just like this is now 2 years in a row where we're like, he's not a factor when it matters most.
No.
Injuries, yes, but some of it's
that's
like
not an ace.
But some of it's like if you're healthy enough to pitch, we have the expectations of what are you capable of as a pitcher. Like, if you're not healthy, don't pitch. But he's on the mound technically, so we have a set of expectations for you.
He's not available. He's not dependable. You can't depend on him at all. And, it just goes into a lot of these other types of things. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's just so many factors here that when you go into so many of these different situations with all of these different pitchers, I mean, I don't think that they expected it to go as bad as it did. But it's like, it's the worst case scenario with every single one of them. Radiant saying in the chat saying, can we say that Holmes, for the most part, considering the circumstances, relatively a success for the Mets, considering he's here for next year? What do you think? I think, again, we already said, I think in a nutshell, Holmes has been pitchable. He has been playable. However, there were still some headaches along the way as to where we're going to need to see improvement, or we are going to, start to question what's going on here. But then when you start to add on from the rest of the rotation, it doesn't help. And that's the thing. The main reason as to why all of these situations look bad is because the rest of the rotation is no better. Like, if Holmes had this certain season that he's having with the rest of the rotation putting up serviceable numbers or serviceable starts or giving us somewhat of length, then it wouldn't be talked about as much. He would just be like, okay, starting pitcher 5, whatever. Starting pitcher 4, whatever. But it's like, that's it. Like, that's the thing. You have so many cases in this rotation where everything has come crashing down. Everything. Kodai Senga, a guy you expected to be a frontline piece, has not been dependable once again this year, has struggled multiple times as well, has had another injury covering first base, still needs those 5 days of rest, extra day of rest. Clay Holmes, first-year starter, as we expect. Has trouble throwing strikes. David Peterson, gone completely down the toilet since becoming an all-star selection. The all-star nod got to his head, just like it did with Jeff McNeil. I'm joking, by the way. I'm not being serious, okay? I know a lot of people here when I say stuff like that, I'm joking. Frankie Montas, disaster from day one. No, got hurt in spring training. Yeah, got hurt in spring training. I fully believe he just came into camp completely out of shape. That's what I believe. Manaea gets hurt after a year. Griffin Canning ruptures his Achilles. Like
McGill done for the year probably.
McGill is McGill. Yeah, McGill is McGill. Obviously, it's just there's so many guys, and this is the thing. It's like when Ricardo, he's saying, Peterson second half killed this team. That's not a joke. He's had his moments too that have been bad in the second half, but it's like collectively, you can't point out who you're like, oh, well, this is the reason why this isn't going. It's not like 2023 where we're like, okay, Scherzer and Verlander are not stepping up like we expected them to. So
they're getting paid a lot.
What are we going to do here? There's a lot more culprits here. A lot more culprits. The Canning injury was starting to look, it's starting to be, especially from what you were getting per value. And listen, he was starting to fall off the rails a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and try and say, I'm not going to sit here and play revisionist history.
Was coming off the rose pretty quickly.
It was coming off, but it was also the fact that it's a $4.5 million reliever, back end reliever salary. Mm-hmm. That it's like, if you get 2 months well from him with guys coming back, that's fine. But then he has this just horrendous injury, which is just heartbreaking. It's considering, everything he has gone through in his career, but that's just more personally. It's the fact of like, everything has gone wrong. What can go wrong has gone wrong for this team, whether it's in the pitching department, in some of the decisions they've made in the bullpen, everything has gone wrong. And the fact that they are in a float for the playoff race, if they are in that certain contention, it is somewhat of a shock. But when you're looking at a near $400 million payroll, it's like, we have expectations here. We have expectations. I think Canning would have played well out of the bullpen. Who knows? I don't know. We'll never know. I don't know.
I kind of like Holmes in this current role, to be honest with you, because I think for me, it's like you could look at his numbers club, be like, oh, look at the ERA, look at this, look at that, turned to be a decent signing. I think you have to look more so at like innings pitched per start, because how many times did we talk about, oh, can't go more than 4, oh, in the 15th inning runs of trouble, 16th inning runs of trouble.
That's
so
that's the part of context that gets lost. That's the thing.
I feel like I feel like instead of going and have him make a start knowing that he can't go more than 5, like they're doing now, use him for what you can get out of him. So, if you can get 3 really good innings out of him, use him for 3 innings. Don't go into knowing he can't go 5, because if you have a guy in your rotation can't go more than 5, then they really should be making a start to begin with. I kind of like him more in maybe like a middle to like late in the bullpen kind of role, like a Seth Lugo kind of role, 2 innings, maybe come in with a runner on because he's a good ground ball pitcher. I kind of like him more in that role, because he used to be a strictly closer, 1 inning guy. And listen, if Edwin Diaz opts out, he might be your closer next year anyways.
Could be.
You might have, I would kind of like something more of a 2 inning guy, 3 inning guy in certain situations. You bring him in and he's able to get different things done for you. I think that provides decent value, because you just know after how many different times you put him out there, he was not able to go more than 5. And that was my thing that really bothered me, is I was like, how many times do you need to see the same thing before making a change here? And I just think it took way too long for them to finally put him in the bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious. I think the one thing that I think holds me back from saying they should have put Holmes in the bullpen sooner, they should have did this, they should have did that, they waited too long. It's the fact that the starter routine, and he's not a reliever anymore. Like he's not set up to be like him as a reliever last year, a 98 mile an hour sinker baller who's got 2 pitches or 3 pitches. Like he's a lot different compared to that. So that type of adjustment it's not easy. But when you come to crunch time, you're like, okay, we got to see what sticks here. I still like Holmes starting the game instead of Manaea, but that's whatever. that's nitpicking at this point, because we're at a point where we're like, oh my God, we have to stack 2 starters on top of each other that we paid in the offseason. So it's like, it sucks, but it's almost like balls to the wall, do it. That's it. Like that's literally it. Tony had to go, guys. So thanks to Tony for joining us for a majority of this show. Guys, his links are in the description. Make sure to go check him out. He does plenty of stuff solo as well. His TikTok, his YouTube, does great content. And he's also one of our old friends on here as an OG Mets Weekly member. But obviously the show continues with one final segment, of course, being the upcoming series in Chicago against the Wrigley Field faithful. This is a contending team. This is one of the teams that is going to be in the playoffs. So how will they match up against them? I don't know, but I guess we're going to have to find out. Either way, here are your pitching matchups upcoming here for the series starting tomorrow. Game 1, David Peterson will start the series opener, looking to get back on track and finish the season strong. Hopefully, he'll face the breakout rookie right-hander, Cade Horton. First pitch is tomorrow night at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time on SNY. Game 2, Jonah Tong, Mets pitching prospect. He will make the start. He'll face one of the biggest steals in free agency this year, by the way, southpaw Matthew Boyd. First pitch is Wednesday night at 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time. That one's on ESPN. So if it can't even get even more painful watching the Mets collapse like this, you get to see it on ESPN, and you get to hear commentary about that from the ESPN announcers, which is just so much fun to listen to. And of course, Game 3, the rising star rookie himself, Noah McLean, will start the series finale. He'll face the 32-year-old Japanese left-hander Shota Imanaga. First pitch is Thursday night at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time on SNY. So obviously, 6 games left. The Mets are still in playoff position. However, recently, they've just been digging their own grave, I don't know, for like 3 months. So will it change? I don't know. Who knows? We're all here to see it. We're all here to cover it, no matter what. But obviously, we're not liking what we are seeing. This is a good Cubs team. They are one of the best. One of the best in the National League. They got the first wild card. If the season ended today, the Mets would not face them if they get the last wild card. But again, this is I don't know. I don't know how to go forward with this, because again, as much as for ego boost, Pete Crow Armstrong has not been good. They've still been good enough.
I feel like he'll be going to the ESPN games.
That's when he's going to start.
Just so the broadcast could push their narrative, like they did the last time the Mets faced the Cubs early in the year. Remember the Roku? All they talked about, and like the whole weekend, everything was, "Oh, did you know the Mets traded Pete Crow Armstrong? Did you know that?" I mean, they just went on and on and on. I'm sure they'll find a way to get in there some way, somehow. If he does anything, whether he makes a catch, he steals a base, his helmet falls off, like they'll just find a way to be like, "Oh my God, Pete Crow Armstrong, this and that." Listen, we talked extensively about the concerns with their defense. How do you think that's going to go in Wrigley Field? Do you think if Jose Siri is taking bad routes now in Citi Field, how this going to go in windy Wrigley with the ivy and the brick wall and everything? Like, I'm just not looking forward to seeing how this team fields in that kind of environment. Like you said, the Cubs actually are a really good team. You've seen them struggle with bad teams, but sometimes they play good against good teams. So I feel like you can make any prediction, and like anything is technically possible, because like we said, they're so consistently inconsistent that if they did well against the Cubs, I wouldn't be shocked. If they did bad against the Cubs, I wouldn't be shocked either, because that's how it's been all season long.
Yeah, picking names out of the hat, like that. Who's going to show up today? This lineup, overall, they've all had great offensive seasons. Carson Kelly from the catcher position, he's been quite the steal for them. Michael Busch has started to break out as well, OPS over the 800 mark. Nico Horner has started to hit this year. He's one of the best contact hitters in the league. Dansby Swanson has started to hit, even though he's struggled since signing with the Cubs. Ian Happ has started to hit as well. Like we said, Pete Crow Armstrong has struggled a lot in the second half. Kyle Tucker, of course, that
Actually, not doing as well as
he's struggled a lot, but he's still Kyle Tucker, and the Mets do love to rejuvenate a lot of players that are struggling. Seiya Suzuki, of course, their DH as well, and then they have had some other good performances in this rotation too. Like we said, Matthew Boyd has seemed to be one of their most dependable starters this season, 174 innings this year, and he's had a great year. Shota Imanaga has had an injury-riddled season, but he's still really good. Jamison Tyone has had a solid year as well. Cade Horton seems to be the future of that team as well, who they got in some trade. Which trade was it?
Yeah, there was a trade they got him in. I mean,
was it the Rizzo trade, the Bryant trade? I don't know, something.
They made a lot. I mean, they made the Javi Baez trade. That's how they got PCA. We know that when they were trading all their World Series core.
But did you know that we traded PCA? I can't believe
we
that.
did.
Didn't know that. Ryan Presley, horrendous year. Did they take him out of the closer role? I think they did. Right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they had removed him.
Another guy that I've wanted the Mets to sign many times, Brad Keller. That's another one. He's had a fantastic year out of the bullpen for them. Daniel Palencia, he's considered their closer as of right now. Caleb Thielbar has had a phenomenal season, also one of the highest usage relievers as well out of their bullpen. They've had plenty of bullpen replacements as well this year that they have gone in and out with, including Mets legend Chris Flexen. They've even had him there. So again, I don't know what to really expect at this point. Who do we look to? I don't know who you really look to. Just lean on the rookies to do everything and be perfect, right? That's literally it. I have no confidence. I really don't. I don't have any confidence. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose these last 6 games and we go into a full, complete panic mode into the offseason. I wouldn't be surprised because this is all they've shown me this year. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they won all 6 of these games too, just for the hell of it. Just to torture us for another week in the postseason. Just to do it. Just for fun. But right now we are witnessing a team that is dying a slow, painful death.
Very slow.
Yay!
Very painful.
Have fun, everyone. But Frank, some guys you're turning to in this series.
Anybody?
I'm running out of topics here. I'm running out of it.
If anyone could do anything, that'd be great. You could get a late clutch hit. That would be nice. If the ball hits you, catch it. If there's a good pitch to hit, swing at it. Like you said, what else is there at this point? Because it could be anything at a given moment. Like, oh, the hitting looks good today. Oh, but the pitching went bad. Oh, the pitching was good today. Oh, the defense went bad. Like, it's really tough. I mean, to get all parts to all do good things at the same time, it's asking a whole lot. I mean, it just really is to get it all to come together. It's always something. And like we said, that's the thing that happens with a losing team. If you're struggling in so many different areas, you're going to end up being a losing team. And that's what happens for this Mets team far too often this season.
Yeah. And obviously it has been below the expectations, like we have said. I feel like we're in one of those situations at this point where I feel like the message that does need to be sent at the end of September, sadly, is like basically that scene from the Bad News Bears where he's like, gentlemen, this is a baseball. The object of the baseball is to keep it within the confines of the field. You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball. Like, that's how I feel the message that needs to be sent, because that's all they've shown all year of how unfundamentally sound they are.
And it's fitting. We're playing a team that has Bears. So, I mean, I think that's a really good
it's analogy a sign.
For this particular series.
It's a sign. Pete Alonso, I know you have quite the career in Wrigley Field.
Another bear.
Another bear.
Yes, the Bad News Polar Bears. That's what they are.
Yeah. God. Anyways, Pete Alonso, huge career at Wrigley Field. If
it might be
you don't show up, this might be his last game in Wrigley Field as a Met, or whatever narrative we have to put up, because that's basically what we have to focus on. I don't know. Somebody wake up.
Anybody?
That's it. That's my message at this point. I don't even know what to say anymore at this point.
I wonder, like, maybe just like one other thought. Like, Wrigley Field is not the place to do it, but man, you got to consider putting McNeil back in center because these other guys, like, they're not even playing good defense anyways. It's like, I mean, it's go time. Like, there's only a few games left. You just have to put out your line that gives you the best chance to win these next few games. It's not the field to do it, but at this point, what else can you do? Because you can't leave those guys out there. They both just absolutely stink. And we didn't even get to the injury report with like Tyrone Taylor making a rehab appearance, but it's just like,
what
Tyrone saved the day in time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean to do it as quick as we can. Like, I mean, Tyler McGill may need Tommy John. Reed Garrett maybe need Tommy John.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's at this point we have so much to say at this point of that we just lose track of it. Like, we're already over the 2-hour mark, just got right over it. And I think we're just going to end it here. It's just at this point, whatever happens, as our hitting coach likes to say. It's whatever, really. It is. It's whatever, because I'm ready to have a conversation, whether it ends well or not. That's it. That's all. That's it. I'm ready to have a conversation about what this team is going forward. And it's not going to be a pretty one. It's not going to make people smile. It isn't. So I don't know what to tell you. They've brought it to this point. They brought it on themselves by completely underperforming a near $400 million payroll. I don't know what to tell you. Either way, we are going to end it off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Thank you to Tony for joining us for a majority of this stream. His links are in the description, like we said. And make sure to go follow him. He's a content creator as well, if you guys didn't know. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation live in the future, make sure to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel. Turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok, which mainly features Frank's post-game reactions after every regular season game, with 6 left. Let's see. And then, of course, follow us all individually. Like I said, Tony, me, even Andrew, who's seldomly here. And let's go Mets, I guess. If you want to wake up, if you want to show up, I don't know. Whatever you feel like it. Because apparently anything that this team does is fine by the leadership here. So, whatever. Yeah, let's go Mets. Try to win. If you don't win, we still throw the pizza party. It'll be fine. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.